Dennis James Banks was born in 1937. Dennis lived a hard life while he was young. Like every Native American child, he was taken at the age of 5 to a boarding school run by the Bureau of Indian Affairs, or BIA. Dennis described the experience of being taken as a dark day in the lives of all Indian children. He described the schools as concentration camps for children. He said some kids screamed when they were taken, while others were just terrified. At the school, some say they were forced to be remade into white children. They were forced to only speak English. So most children, like Dennis, forgot how to speak their native tongue. He was moved from boarding school to boarding school until he reached age 17. He joined the Air Force shortly after that. When he came back, all he saw was poverty, unemployment, and alcohol. He said to People magazine during an interview, "I was heading down a road that was filled with wine, whiskey, and booze. Then I landed in prison." He served 2 years, 7 months, and 18 days for robbing a grocery store. His experience in jail compelled him to start AIM with jailmate Russell Means. AIM was focused on challenging broken laws and treaties with protests and by challenging the law. Dennis himself was a part of 2 major protests, the Trail of Broken Treaties and the takeover of Wounded Knee, South Dakota. The Trail of Broken Treaties was a march on Washington, D.C. to bring light to the plight placed on Native Americans. After Congress refused to meet with them, they violently took control of BIA offices and destroyed many valuable things. It is estimated that they nearly caused $700,000 of damage. The takeover of Wounded Knee in 1973 was because a white man was acquitted after murdering an Indian. They chose the site of Wounded Knee because in 1890, 200 Louks, men, women, and children were murdered by U.S. troops in the American Indian Wars. The 200 Indians held Wounded Knee for 71 days and demanded the government to investigate the BIA because they believed it was corrupt. They wanted them to look at land treaties that they thought were broken. They wanted the government to look at recent tribe elections because they were believed to be corrupt manipulation of white men. One shootout during the takeover of Wounded Knee led a U.S. Marshal being paralyzed. Dennis later stated that, "We laid down our weapons at Wounded Knee. Those weren't just bows and guns, but also a sense of pride." Dennis, Banks, and AIM were successful in what they wanted to do. The government met their demands and looked at everything they wanted them to do. Although they didn't look very hard, some changes were made. Today, the government is still trying to improve. They are now following land treaties made by Indians and the government. As Dennis grew older, his violent protests started to end. In 1984, he surrendered himself to the authorities after being on the run for several years. He was charged with rioting and assault after his actions at the courthouse during the trial of a white man who murdered an Indian. After his jail time, he decided that he could best help by staying out of politics altogether. Even though things aren't perfect today, Banks looked back and saw progress with his work. He said that Americans grew an awareness that Native Americans are still here today and that they are treated badly. So bad that something like Wounded Knee had to happen to bring true light to their issue. Banks sadly passed away at the age of 80 in 2017 from complications after heart surgery.